Là c'est mauvais valet pied non nous qu'a crucifié mon épi. Faut nous connaître pour meilleur c'est pour nous tout ça bénéfice. For all the wonders you done for us all, spreading the culture all over the world. For all the good things that you done for God, that's what it is. We thanking you. We thanking you, brother.
Pleasant good morning, Dominica. Good morning, Eastern Caribbean. Welcome to another Creole Heartbeat edition on a beautiful Wednesday in Dominica, the nature island of the Eastern Caribbean. And those days, globally, we are known as the greatest country on the face of this earth. Nous avons dit spécial bonjour pour tout le monde à toute la Dominique et aux Antilles. Nous attendons indépendance. C'est pour nous partager pile l'information à Creole. Nous avons balancer la sauce comme toujours, comme d'habitude. Ça, c'est à nous, messieurs. Là, nous avons fait Ceuta, Dominique Douvent, Dominique number one. Et puis, nous avons fait Ceuta, nous avons différentes dimensions. And with us this morning, we have the head of the UE Open Campus, Dr. Kimon Joseph, and she'll be giving us some information on the EO Leblanc lecture series. As we know, this is a very important series that has been undertaken by the University of the West Indies. And by the way, for those who don't know, EO Leblanc, former Chief Minister of Dominica, former Chief Minister of Dominica, because he did so much work. As a matter of fact, he's known as the father of Creole. Quite a bit of the Creole activities, what we now enjoy during our independence season. He was actually the one who actually put focus on that. And this is a very important season for us, at least 1 month, where we can actually celebrate and highlight Dominica's Creole culture. And one of the most instrumental people behind that was E.O. Leblanc. And we really want to actually, go down and possibly get some history about E.O. Leblanc even before we actually get into the lecture series. And we also have the wife of the legendary Dr. Alwyn Bully, Anita Bully, one I've known for, as a matter of fact, all of my life. A very special lady. I've been doing so much work into the arts and culture of Dominica, really bringing it to the fore. And there's a special edition of the Alwyn Bully Foundation, and they'll be giving us all the information we need to know. It's a very special celebration of the life. We should be celebrating 76 years this year. And this particular production is a musical production. Some of the music written by Alwyn Bully. You will hear more about that in a while. Let's move across the studio too and say good morning to Anita. We have a ladies, feminine, powerful team here this morning. Good morning, Dr. Kimon. Good morning, Anita.
I think I have the wrong mic. Morning, Maddox. Okay, great. Thank you.
Right. I'm hearing you loud and clear, Anita.
Morning.
Dr. Kimon.
Pleasure to be here.
Dr. Kimon Zakafet.
Good morning. Good
Right.
morning, Maddox. Good morning, Dominica. Good morning, listeners of DBS Radio.
It's a pleasure to have this powerful feminine team with us this morning. And we will be speaking of if there is ever, let's say, 100 great top Dominicans of all time. The two leaders, one head of state, the other head of our cultural activities in Dominica, head of culture in Dominica. We'll be actually discussing, first of all, Dr. Kimon, you have that special series continuing tomorrow, the E.O. Leblanc lecture series. Right. It will be the 11th edition. Tell us a little more about that particular edition, what motivated it. Tell us about possibly the 10 editions prior to that before we actually delve into tomorrow's activity.
Right. So the E.O. Leblanc Memorial Lecture Series was an initiative of our now principal, but then head of UWI in Dominica at the time, Dr. Francis Severer, and Mr. Raymond Lawrence, putting a lecture as part of independence celebrations. And so we have been on the calendar of independence activities since that time. Coincidentally, the first lecture was presented by Dr. Alwyn Bully.
Wow.
And it was the Gilded the Gilded Lily, yes. He presented on culture and E.O. Leblanc's relationship and love for culture And of course, he spoke about the fact that when we started this whole National Day thing before we became independent, and we had National Day celebrations and all these cultural dances and extravaganzas that we have come to enjoy now, and making October a favorite season for many Dominicans at home and abroad, that was the initiative of Ioli Blah. So Alwyn was our first presenter in this particular series. We have had presenters from other countries. For instance, we have had Professor Hazel Simmons McDonald from St. Lucia, Vladimir Lucien from St. Lucia, talking about language and folklore and so on, because the series is about culture. But over the last 6 or 7 years or so, we have decided with the Cultural Division to focus on whatever the topic is for History Week, because this is History Week. Whatever that topic is, that will be the focus of our lecture for that year. So this year, the focus is on Dominica's native tongues. And so we are focusing on Kalinago language, Kokoi, and Creole.
Absolutely. We'll get into more in depth with that particular special panel discussion carried for tomorrow. As we say good morning to my ace buddy Sobers Esprit. Welcome to Creole Heartbeat. Ça va fait frère?
Voilà.
Tout va bien?
Tout bien.
Dr. Sobers Esprit, can I call you that? But arts and culture, and it is like divine intervention, Alwyn, and this special lecture series coinciding so nicely. This particular edition, I am sort of excited and overjoyed because it's music, and some of the music, fortunately, I viewed the stages of the early, I think, folk nativity. Maybe Anita might guide me, and so might guide me. Folk nativity, because some of the greatest sounds of Ophelia were actually penned and sung on those two productions. But why this particular production? As a matter of fact, even before we go into that, tell us a little about the Alwyn Bully Foundation.
Yes, I am honored to speak about the Alwyn Bully Foundation because we are pioneering members of that organization. As you know, this foundation was established following the death of the distinguished Alwyn Bully last year, 2013. It is an organization that was built primarily to build on the legacy left by Alwyn Bully, but also to amplify and to make well known his work in the area of the creative economy and the creative industries. For me, as somebody working in that field, my focus is on the creative economy. Of course, there are issues more intrinsic to the culture that Alwyn was there and passionate about, and his work was outstanding over decades in this field. So the foundation was established primarily to build on that and to keep his legacy alive. What we are focusing on now is establishing a program of work over the next couple of years that would in fact bring some action in the area of the creative industries and of course on culture and art development in Dominica. Our focus is going to be a lot in the area of training and development. We want to focus on training in things like theatre arts, design, and carnival, areas passionate to Alwyn that was dear to him. But also we want to lend support to other initiatives at the national and regional level as well. We think it's important that the work be broadened away, not just for Dominica, but for the wider region, because Alwyn's work was really truly global. It wasn't just national. And so that is what we're embarking on. And so we have a core team, we have a dedicated team of volunteers that have been on the ball over the last year and a half, Anita. And so we've done a number of things, but we are broadening and building on that. And we're going to be talking a little bit about this year's celebration for his 76th birthday, or what would have been his 76th birthday to celebrate this outstanding life. But we can also talk about some of the other initiatives that we're hoping to embark on coming forward.
Yep.
Yes, there's always a saying that besides every great man, there's always a woman. You stood behind Alwyn throughout thick and thin throughout those years. And he has really, left an indelible mark on the history of Dominica, the first chief cultural officer. And when you now look at the cultural division, you can see, the work, you could see the foundation, you could see, the spinal cord of our culture is still powerful and strong. What reminds you of this legend? What resonates with you? Now he has gone to meet his maker, gone to possibly in heaven, if I may say. What resonates with you most, Anita, when you reflect on this legendary God-given talent to Dominica? Alwyn.
His natural talent, I think, is something he always spoke about. And he would say it's not coming from him, he gets inspiration. A lot from it, I don't know where he got the inspiration, but he's got inspiration from a higher being as far as he was concerned. Alvin never learned music. He was not a musician, yet the amount of songs that Alvin has written and composed is really, really amazing for a non-musician. I know when he was doing Folk Nativity, for instance, we were at Girardel at his father's house, and one morning he's there going through his mother's anthuriums and just walking up and down through the anthurium field, and he comes back and he says, "I have it." And that was where he wrote the Magnificat.
Yes.
And he started singing it to me, the tune and everything. And it was common for him to have a tape recorder in his night table drawer. In the middle of the night, he would just get up, switch on a light, and then hum in the tape recorder. And then because he didn't play a musical instrument, he would sit with friends like Einstein Blanc, who played the guitar, and Wakas, Ashton Lugay, who were then members of PAT and very good friends of Alwyn. And he would sit with them and work out the tune. And he would get quite annoyed when they were not hearing what he was hearing in his head. So which was really funny, as we would say, but they worked with him beautifully. And he was lucky to be born in that period where there were so many musicians who wanted to work with him, free of cost.
Yes.
Free of cost. They would come in. I mean, we had a full steel band from Ruler, okay?
And they had Bells Combo.
Bells Combo. The whole of Bells Combo. I mean, it was just amazing people like Pembo. We'd call Norman Dorival. Anybody we would call on. Bing,
Casimir.
then Christian, who played the sax, and so he would just call on them and they would come because they loved working with him. And
even Jesus Christ Superstar. I mean, you're the star-studded cast also.
Right, yes. And he actually sang.
he played the part of Jesus.
Jesus in that, yes. And it was a wonderful production. And he thought out of the box.
Yeah.
And he was well respected in the Caribbean. Alwyn wrote his first play whilst he was in Cave Hill. And it's just amazing when he told that story, because they were looking for a play to do. Remember, he joined Cave Hill when it was the first batch of students, so there were no guilds set up. So he set up the drama group. He set up a carnival committee. He designed the first Carnival Queen show they had in Cave Hill himself, and a few Caribbean people like Dobry Nomad and Blazer from St. Vincent, Robert Lee from St. Lucia. Robert Lee joined a little later than that group. And they just congregated around him and they fed off each other because they were all very creative people. And they decided they were going to do a play for the first Christmas production at Cave Hill. So they went looking for plays and they couldn't find one. So hear him. Oh, I just decided, what's so hard about writing a play? And he had this little song going in his head called Good Morning, Miss Millie. And he went home, and for in less than 3 hours, he wrote this play, which is now on the CXC syllabus for students. Okay? So he then realized, it's not so bad, I can do this thing. And when he came back to Dominica after Cave Hill, he joined the little theatre group, which later turned into the People's Action Theatre. And he was lucky to have Daniel Cordero here at the time. So they worked together on the first play they took to Carifesta in Guyana, which was called...
That's before my
it just
time.
went out of my head. Okay.
But it's 1972. Speak Brother Speak.
Right.
Yes, Speak
so
Brother
he
Speak.
directed that and took it to Carifesta. And there was a whole buzz around that play.
Was that the play with Gary Didier?
No.
Oh, okay.
Gary Didier was in The Ruler.
The Ruler, okay.
Okay? And that was later on, But he had set standards for himself in these early years. And he just grew and developed on that and worked with a lot of people, young people. I mean, when he set up the People's Action Theatre, we did not have television, okay?
Yeah.
We did not have phones. So people were looking for things, creative things for them to do. And people would come to the St. Gerard's Hall, as this one here. How many of them would come to St. Gerard's Hall just to be part of this exercise and learn from him? And he was very strict at some times.
Yeah, he was sometimes. He was extremely strict. Waddix.
Yeah.
The session started at 8 o'clock. They open the gates at 7:30 or thereabout. By 8:30, the gate closed. St. George's Hall doors closed.
Yes.
And his business.
Yes.
And his closest friends like Mikey Bruni and Einstein, not Einstein, the other one, Earlsworth. Everybody had to fall in line.
Business.
Because you had to go through the routine. The discipline that Alwyn taught us, the commitment, the dedication. And I think we have to highlight that though. Because Alwyn is from a generation of artists and cultural people. They were, in fact, the formation was as a result of the environment in which they lived through, the discipline that was necessary for them to succeed, the hard work, the dedication, the work on their craft. Even if he wasn't trained in the 1960s, but because he wasn't trained, because of that, he put a lot of time into the development of his craft. Whether it was Alwyn Bully the painter, Alwyn Bully the writer, Alwyn Bully the dancer, Alwyn Bully, whatever it was. And we can look at other Dominican cultural icons. The people like Lennox Honeychurch, like Raymond Lawrence, like Gordon Henderson. We see the same trait in all of them. Yeah. The dedication and of course attention to detail and the commitment and the discipline. But I think one of the Alwyn's greatest traits though is he listened to people, and he was very good at getting people involved, engaged. He wasn't this aloof kind of artist like you see in many superstars. They had this aloofness, or we didn't have that.
I'm glad Sobers is saying that because you would be surprised. Alwyn, somebody would come to Alwyn and say, "Look, I'm trying to write this." Alwyn will leave everything and sit down and read a 30-page script. And then call the person, say, "Come home, and can you come in at this time?" And the person would come, and he would sit with them and discuss with them
the
details, their plot, what the characters, what is needed, how to develop the characters, how to do this, how to do that, and look at it from a point of view of people looking at it and critiquing it rather than from what you feel inside. So he was a personable person. And I saw more and more of that when he passed, because there was a guy who just arrived at my doorstep and he said, "Mrs. Bully, you don't know me, but your husband is the one who has me where I am today, because he took an interest in us when we were at grammar school. He created the drama club, which gave us a kind of confidence that we did not have in ourselves. He treated us as equals. Okay, mind you, he was a disciplinarian because he told me
he wasn't joking.
He used to cane. And every time he would come home, he would feel so bad about caning.
We kid.
Okay, I think he felt more bad than the student felt. But he gave people his time.
But let me tell you.
But just before Sobers,
Yes.
we get into that aspect of it, because I also want to play some of the songs that were written by Alwyn. We may just be fortunate to have the Magnificat and Gloria and Mweke Haley.
Fantastic.
Right.
Great.
But Dr. Kimon.
Yeah, but I want to talk about that. So I missed all that in the 70s. I came later than that. But I came to Roseau. I came to Roseau in 1991. So I missed all that good stuff, yeah? But I got to experience Alwyn when I started working at UWI. And I can attest to that wonderful human, that beautiful spirit. I remember I had to record, for the purpose of one of our Nature Island Literary Festivals, I had to record a short story. And I think I'm a great reader. Yes, I do. And so when the recording, he sat with me, just like Anita is saying there, in his nice, gentle way, and gave me the critique. But it wasn't insulting, it wasn't hurtful. It was really that if I would open up myself and see it as a critique of the work and so on. So he worked with me, and then I went back to Henderson's and recorded it again. And then he said to me, no, that is the one. That is the one. So I did I was late. Like I said, I came to Roseau in 1991. But here I am.
Very fortunate.
Yes, I was very fortunate that I did get to meet him in 2000 and, well, not meet him, but work with him, because I had met him before. But I got to work with him from 2012, and it has been a wonderful, wonderful experience. And it's wonderful to see that his work is continuing even now.
Tomorrow is scheduled to be an exciting, historic time for us. I mean, we're going to be exploring the languages Creole, Kokoi, and Kalinago.
Right.
I'm very excited about this particular topic.
Yes.
Yeah.
Tell us a little more about that, Dr. Kimon.
Right. So for this lecture series, as I said earlier, we're focusing on the History Week topic, and this year that is Dominica's native tongues, and so we're focusing on Kalinago, Creole, and Kokoi. So we have Mr. Prosper Paris, who is a cultural activist, one of the people who started the Kalinago Word of the Day here on DBS Radio. And so his topic is Mabrika, the influence of the Kalinagos on language in Dominica and the Caribbean. Now, Wadix, you should know that there are specific words when the colonizers came in that they just haven't even changed, that those words were Kalinago words and have remained so. Words like kayak, canoe, iguana. So many of those words are really Kalinago words, right? And so Kalinago has had tremendous influence, particularly for flora and fauna throughout the Caribbean. Comité Poétique Creole will be represented by Mr. Raymond Lawrence and Mrs. Ophelia Marie, and they will be speaking on the topic Paase Puyo, the evolution of Dominica's Creole language. And so they will be talking about, among other things, the efforts that have been put in to really establishing the Creole language. We've spoken a lot, Wadix, about Dominica's Creole and really getting it to be preserved and to be enjoyed and getting more people into speaking the language. So we will look at its history and also where we want it to go. I remember you yourself had planned a symposium a few years ago on the language. It was a fantastic symposium, by the way. We still talk about it at UWI. So the two of them will handle the Creole part of things. And then we are very excited also to have Mr. Emmanuel Prince, who was the former health education officer that I remember from the 90s when I came to town. This is Emmanuel Prince reporting on matters of health. And he also had the Afuawi program in the 1990s, and I remember staying up to listen to him talk and having that beautiful program. Half the time, my brother and I didn't understand, but like Felix Henderson, he had a unique way of teaching. I think he missed his calling. He really should have been a teacher, a linguistic teacher, because he could taught, and then the people would call in and they would talk. Sometimes we would get lost, but he'd make us find our spot again. So he will be speaking on the topic Afuawi, Kokoi's infusion in Dominica's culture. And one of the things I learned from him very recently, Wadix, was that not only Margaret, Wesley, and Woodford Hill speak Kokoi, but Clifton too.
Yes.
I had not known that. I didn't know that. So we'll talk a little bit about that on Thursday evening. So, as you said earlier, it is in honor of Ioli Blah, Dominica's first premier, who was devoted to culture. He himself was an avid reader and was a poet as well. And later on this year, before the end of the year, his family will be publishing and featuring some of his work, his poetry, and some of that is written in Creole. So we are looking forward to being part of that. So yes, so that is what our panel discussion is going to be focused on. We will also, for the first time, be infusing a bit of song and dance and so on into the lecture series. So that's a fresh thing. I am hopeful that it will work out. So we have a Kokoi song that Mr. Gregory Caressa Rivera is going to do for us. We'll also have performances by the Karina and the Carifuna cultural groups on the Kalinago territory. So it promises to be a wonderful evening. So we invite people to come. It's free, of course, and open to everyone. So we invite people to come to UWI auditorium to enjoy tomorrow evening as we explore Dominica's native languages.
Okay, I mean, this is fantastic. I'm so excited about this. To me, I'm even more excited than several of the events that maybe I'm climaxing the whole celebrations. But then the tribute, this legendary echoes, I mean, I try to wonder what was the legendary echoes all about, and then I figure, well, the choruses, the echoes, Ophelia singing the Magnificat.
You have to understand.
Oh, you really like that Magnificat,
That's one of my favorite.
Love that Magnificat,
yes.
But the name came about because Alwyn is not recognized for being a musician. Because even the songs that Ophelia sings, which he wrote, the music and the lyrics for.
Wow.
People, at one time, DBS was saying it was Ophelia's songs.
Yes.
So we had to tell them, no, you have to, Ophelia is singing the song, but the song was written by Alwyn Bully, with music by Alwyn Bully and Ainsa Leblanc. So you have to give the creators of those things their kudos, because that's all they get in Dominica, kudos. And but besides Folk Nativity, which is a full musical, Alwyn always, every play he put on had to have some form of music. So even serious plays, he wrote, like he did a play, it's a Trinidadian piece called One of Our Sons is Missing. And for that he wrote a theme song, which was sung by Claudia Henderson. And you know Claudia Henderson had this voice. But that had a theme song. So all his plays, he played music before the play, selected music for after the play while people were walking out, theme songs for the play, and injected those in the correct spots. And in the early days, when we went to Guadeloupe and to Carifesta in Barbados, he created musicals that involved the Kalinago people. It was called, I think the first one was called The Discovery. So the Discovery of Dominica, the Kalinago people, and wrote some beautiful songs for that. But Dominicans don't know him as a songwriter, so we thought it would be nice if we just concentrated on the music of Alwyn Bully. And we have gotten together a wonderful cast and set of musicians for that.
Excellent. Give us some more information on that particular production.
Okay. It's going to be held at a new venue. As you know, we're still crying about not having a venue, a proper venue where we can put on productions. we had a choice of the parish hall. As you know, the sound in the parish hall is not suitable. There's too much of an echo in the place. So if you're doing a musical, you suffer from sound bouncing back at you, which is a plus. The place is flat. You have to bring in a stage. You have to bring in lights. You have to bring in sound. Okay? So we were looking around for venues, and somebody brought up the factory on Valley Road.
Yeah.
And we went there, and it is a beautiful venue.
Yes.
There are some things that can be added to it to make it more suitable. But Arden is working with us, and the stage, he has a beautiful big stage, provides lights and sound. The VIP areas you could have on one section and another section, and then you have the general population in the front of the stage, which he's going to cover because, you know, we can't rely on our weather in Dominica. So he has all the equipment and so to do that. So it's a new venue, and as we tell him, we're going to sell the venue for you. So besides doing things like Calypso show, it can hold other stuff. So we're going to try and showcase that.
Who are some of the cast members?
Let me give you some. I can't leave out anybody, so let me
That's right.
make
That's a big
sure
show.
that I have
Please.
everybody there. Okay.
And if possible, the song that they will be
Yes.
actually
Yes.
singing.
The band and musical production is being led by Cornell Fingers Philip, and he is they're bringing in people like Julie Mate. Wow. Now, I hope Cornell has already contacted everybody, okay? Julie Mate, who has agreed, Freddie, who has agreed, Fred Nicholas, Jerry Moulon, Michael Ferrol, who has already agreed, Caleb Rodney, and Vanandra Christian.
Yeah.
So that will be the band playing.
Mm-hmm.
And the singers, we have leading voices from what I call Dominica's most talented and recognized singers. And this includes, I included this for a specific reason, the choir from the Christian Union Primary School, because they came to perform for Alwyn. They came to meet Alwyn one year on Flag Day. And it's just by coincidence. I was driving down the road to get bread, and I saw them coming up with their flags waving. So I called one of the teachers on my way back. I still met them because, you know, it's far. So, and I told him, would you like to meet Alwyn Bully, the designer of the flag? And he kept looking at me like, who is that and what am I doing? So I said, ask, is the principal there? Is somebody there you could ask? And then, so the woman said, of course. Now, you have to recognize the children. I forgot about them. I was just taking laundry down. And when I go outside, there are the kids coming up. And they came up. And I had to rush, get Alvin out, decently dressed, get him out to meet them. And the kids were so fascinated to meet the designer of the flag. You have to realize that not even some of the teachers knew that Alwyn was still alive.
Wow.
Okay? One little boy told
the
me...
design of the flag should have died many years ago.
I remember an incident in Back Alias Fosses. This woman comes and she said, Mr. Bully, can I bring my son to meet you? Because it was November time and they were, you know, learning about the flag. So the little boy said, Mr. Bully, I thought you died. It was so funny. Another one told him, did you know Christopher Columbus? But you have to look at it from a child's perspective.
Yes.
If you design a flag of a country,
Yes.
that flag
old
must
man.
have been designed
old
years
man.
ago
Yes.
by an old man. Okay, because the concept of statehood and independence, the children have not gotten.
You know, that's so trippy. Irving Shillingford had a similar experience. He was sitting in the Windsor Park Stadium. Behind him, a stand named after him, and the kids were there watching the match. And somebody said, "Do you know Irving Shillingford?" They say, "No, Irving Shillingford probably dead or something." And he was sitting right there.
Yes. So we're including them in the show because they were so impressed, and the teachers were so impressed. He made the time. Alwyn had Parkinson's full blown then, but he answered their questions. They stayed there for over almost 2 hours.
Wow.
And I knew he was exhausted, but he still stayed there to answer the kids' questions and to be with them. And the following year, after he died, they came and did a special presentation for me. They told me, Mrs. Wood, we are coming, and they gave me, an award for,
so cool.
being in the background and helping Alwyn and whatnot. And they sang that song that Carlin did. Remember, Carlin XP had done a song about Alwyn and the design.
Yes.
So they sang that time. So, of course, I'm having them come on and do 2 songs. So they're going to bring a small choir from the Christian Union Primary School, and they're going to do 2 songs. And then we have the sensational voices of Mary Pascal Afana and Ricardo Cognet from the Cicero Singers Group, Maxine Aline Esprit, Barbara, Alwyn's sister, Barbara Bully Thomas, Black Diamond, Carlin XP, Janet Jackson, Shalina, Tasha P., The Web, and of course the golden voice of Michael Henderson.
Wow. This is promising to be, a real...
Yes.
we have missed the Aracos of culture.
Yeah.
But then wherever this is, this is something that could be held at the Windsor Park Sports Stadium. The type of artists that are involved, the reason for such a wonderful celebration.
Yeah.
This is legendary. This is, national. We should be actually having this on a national scale. I really hope that this. I hope Sobers and Anita that this could be documented.
Yes, it's going to be documented.
Quality documentation.
And we're asking Cornell to record all the songs so
Perfect.
they can be available.
Perfect.
And
so we're going to put it on streaming on one of the
and it's going to be
streaming,
streamed because a
platforms as well.
lot of the people overseas want to see the show. They say when it's going to be and whatnot.
Yeah.
So it's also going to be live streamed.
And hopefully to have the music on one of the streaming platforms
Yes, as well. Yeah.
Excellent.
So Cornell is looking about putting it on the streaming platforms for us. Okay.
But I think what that says is that hey, this country we've tremendous talent, and also that our music is of wide variety. It is bunyo, it is cadence calypso, but it's also sensual. It's also uplifting. It's also magical. And this is an opportunity for Dominicans to get a true sense of the wide variety of music. So we have folk songs, we have spiritual songs, we have calypso, we have social commentary. It's really a wide array of musical styles and genres in one big production. To me, this is a production of the year, Wadix.
Yes, that's why I said it should be on a national stage.
It is a national stage.
Windsor Park Sports Stadium.
No. The factory is on our national stage.
I'm talking.
The factory is going to be national stage.
Agreed, 100%.
On the November the 23rd, it's going to be the national stage.
So as you have worked with me, I'm thinking of all school children present and
I
their parents.
we understand what you're saying.
And their parents and all. Because we remember that 70s, early 80s era when theater was, there was a boom. Dominica was so creative. The creative juices of youth, young
I
people.
think what we're trying to do as well there with these kind of production is to tell people, hey, we're not living in the 70s and the 80s anymore, all right? It is still, that kind of music is still very relevant. That kind of music is still very powerful. And so we want musicians today of the modern times to be doing that kind of music as well.
Absolutely.
You know? So that is part of what we're trying to do as well. So yes, it is music from the 70s and the 80s and the 90s, but it's also music of these times that is relevant, that's important for us as Dominicans and as Caribbean people.
Absolutely. Dr. Kimon, back to you. We'll come back to Anita and
I thought we were
Sobers.
going to play some of those songs.
Yes.
Instead.
We're going to do it. We're going to do it. As a matter of fact, I'm telling my DJ to queue up.
Yeah.
But then I just wanted to get how important is this particular lecture, this edition of this lecture, Dr. Kimon? And as we are on the crossroads of possibly understanding the Creole language even more, we know the language have gone through several challenges and ongoing challenges, especially it is not as spoken as we should. And very importantly, I just wanted to pick even Sober's opinion also. Gordon Anderson is of the opinion that the language should be officially a language of Dominica, not just a side thing. It is called diglossia, he told me, and then we should officially recognize Creole as a language, a Dominican language, instead of just having it a passa and spoken Creole day, that sort of thing. I'm not sure if you want to venture into that a little, Dr. Kimon and Sobers, and even Anita.
I do. Yes. Because we've been talking for a while about really bringing the language into its rightful place, right? So us at UWI, we have done our part. So as Dominicans would know, it is a course at UWI that people can do as part of our slate of continuing and professional education courses, right? So we, in our own way, have been doing our part, and we do want the language to expand. But one of the things, so I'm preparing for this lecture, and so I know that Felix Henderson used to sing to me continuously the Creole version of the national anthem. Yeah? So I get his daughter Grace to send this to me, and I'm thinking, okay, well, I could probably use that after Her Excellency. Her Excellency is attending, so I could use that as a national anthem. But I need to make sure, So I contact the Emblems Committee, and I'm told not quite yet. Wow. It has not yet been evaluated, and of course, it has not yet been sent to Parliament and so on for verification, or Parliament to Cabinet for verification and so on. And so that's just a little story, not a criticism, but a little story to show that we really need to put our money where our mouth is, right? We need to get on that. So, Creole, we're getting closer. We talk about it being taught in schools and so on, and we know that there's been pilot projects and so on, but we need to take it further now, right? We've been doing the groundwork, we need to take it further. We talk about its use in Parliament, which is not done, and we have other examples of other countries where it is being used. So we've been talking about these things for a while, but it's time now to put things in action. We also talk about the fact that Creole is not spoken enough in Roseau. En ville, moun para parler Creole. Yeah? And that is not the case in Castries. No. We talk about that all the time. And yet still, where is the effort for us to do that? On my own, with my little beacon of light, I speak to people in Creole all the time when I meet them en ville, but me alone cannot hold it up. I'm not the next Felix, So we need more people to get on board. We need to really put our money where our mouth is. If we say we are serious, then let us be serious.
You would like to weigh in, Sobers? I know that you have been part of that language and the culture.
Language. I mean,
everything Creole.
Cultural ethos.
Minister. That's a minister of Creole culture.
So here's the thing. It is important for us to recognize and to understand that the heritage, the culture, the art of any country is what keeps it together. It's its soul. It's the embodiment of everything that makes a country and makes a nation. And once you lose those elements of culture, of the heritage, of the arts, you lose your soul. And that, I think, is the struggle that we are facing in the 21st century, the beginning of the 21st century. That we can all lament about what happened in the 60s and the 70s and the early 80s and so on. But what we have to recognize is that if we are losing those elements of the culture, if we are losing the heritage that makes us who we are,
absolutely,
we are in trouble, and what
Yeah.
we're seeing is that we're falling apart.
Yeah.
And this is not a criticism of anything. It is a natural thing throughout the world. You see countries that have lost their culture, that have lost their heritage, their sense of who they are. They're struggling, folks. You see them, they're deep division. We are seeing strife. We are seeing wars.
Right.
And we don't want to get there. And so it is important, therefore, and the call to action is here. There are a few things that we have to do. Recognize, one, the value of education, the importance of education in all its elements, in its full element. So we talk about education reform, or we've been talking about education reform. And education reform that I see must include the arts and culture, must include the projection of the languages
Native
of the
languages,
nation.
yeah.
Okay? So that's one thing. The second thing is we have to develop policy now, national policy,
Policies.
that reflects the society that we want to build, the society of the 21st century, and policy on language, policy on culture, policy on the economy, because they are interrelated. There's a nexus. Because this new economy that we are going to build in the 21st century is not an economy that is solely going to be based on planting, fig, and dashing, folks.
Absolutely.
It's going to be planted, fig, and dashing. Yes, that is great because we have to feed ourselves, and that is important. But it's about knowledge too. It's about using the creative talents of the country. And hey, you cannot build a knowledge industry. You cannot build a creative economy without art and culture. We have to produce. So better music, more art, more design, more film, more of all of the elements of the art and culture.
Yeah.
That's a trailer for next week's program. So
Yes.
I first said that. Yes, we're talking about the orange economy next week. Yes.
Orange economy next week.
Yes.
But let's take in some one of the songs. My favorite all time.
Magnifies the Lord. My soul magnifies the Lord. My soul magnifies the Lord. My soul magnifies the Lord. My spirit has joy in the Lord our God, for He's lifted up a humble girl, and from this day my name shall be blessed by the nations all over.
Anita Soba's one of the very few songs. Whenever I hear it, I get shivers.
You have to
Okay.
stop what you're doing.
Yes. Yes, Anita.
Alex, going back to what you were talking about, Alwyn was lucky in that he was respected by the government of the day, because Alwyn, from the most of Alwyn's, about 40 to 50% of his songs are written in Creole, and you're going to hear Creole songs in Legendary Echoes, okay?
Yes.
And he did plays in Creole. He was grounded in Creole. That was his culture. And he spread the word everywhere he went. He created those songs which were well respected and well received. And he went so far as to take 2 plays he mounted in English in Dominica by Derek Walcott. had them translated himself, things brother, and Louis,
Okay.
and what's his name that's ill now? And three of them worked on the Creole translation of Tija and his Gregory Rabbis,
Tijan and his-
on Tija and his brothers, and Wever Sumon Macaque, Dream on Monkey Mountain, two English plays by Derek Walcott, translated them in Creole, and we took them to Martinique. The response to Martinique was mind-blowing because they said they have never seen a plays of that quality done in Creole and accepted in Creole by Martinican people, because that was not heard of. I remember passing through Guadeloupe, and I'm talking to the Jadams there, because you know when you go in, they're asking you all kind of questions. I'm talking to the man in Creole, and he says, "You're not to talk in Creole." And I'm saying, "What is this?" But you know, because they look down at you if you used to talk Creole in those days.
Martinicans.
But it was part of Dominican culture. Okay, my grandmother spoke it, my mother spoke it. We didn't speak it in the house per se, but when you're hearing that every day on the farm and in the house, you pick it up naturally. And I know people to this day in Dominica still do not speak a word of Creole, and it's amazing to me. But he used it a lot in his plays, in his songs. And what is amazing about his work, for instance, when we did Night Box the other day, somebody came up to me and they said, "Mrs. Bully, but this play is relevant today. The same things are happening in hospital, the same back and forth and things going on, you know." And it was like his vision. And we find that in a lot of his work, they are still relevant at this time.
Yeah. So. Yeah.
I
So
mean-
so that's why we talk about universality of
the music.
of the arts. That when you're doing work, it shouldn't be work for today.
And
It should transcend generation and times.
Yes.
Yeah. So
Let's take in another one which really transcends generation.
This song relates a Carib legend, which tells the story of the beginning of the Carib race. The Caribs reside in Dominica and now number some 200. The song speaks to the mother whose daughter bore the first Carib. Maman, écoutez bien, me voulez dire maman pas pleurer. Mes choses fatouées, mes yeux quand maman pas pleurer. Pas de la peine ça, changer sans même te faire l'empêcher. C'est un beau enfant et capoter yon iche bondan. Maman, écoutez bien, vous voulez dire c'est pas qu'un enfant. C'est ça fait fouet,
And that's what I call perfectionism. And someone like Alwyn teaming up, or allowing Ophelia, like Madame de la Chanson Attiers to sing his work, Sobers, Dr. Kimon, and hear the output. You know, you feel she, and this song is an all-time classic. You can play it every Mother's Day, and it's also historic, and really coinciding with what UE will be taking place tomorrow. Kimon,
yes,
as we get it set, as we warming up, as we building up to this, to my mind, historic discourse on Dominican languages. But Dr. Kimon, when you look at where we are and our appreciation for those languages, what are some of the challenges first, and then how can we overcome those challenges in allowing even the Kalinago language, which I doubt any Kalinago can speak the language. Yes, we have possibly the words that we can learn, but then as the university, as the university standpoint, how can we really pilot that movement to get our people more conscious of those languages and how important it is for us?
I think one of the biggest challenges that we have is an attitude towards preservation. We have to be interested in preserving what we have, because if we do not preserve our culture and our heritage, we are going to lose it. So a lot of what the Kalinagos have been able to discover about the language are from the works of Breton, for example, and others who would have written and kept those files, as I like to call them these days, on the language and the words and so on. But in terms of being able to speak fluently, that is lost, right? The same thing. So let's not think it's too far, because the same thing can happen to Creole and Kokoi if we're not careful. So Professor Hazel Simmons McDonald, our former principal at UWI from St. Lucia, who herself is a conservationist in terms of languages, believes that we needed to write things down, continually write them down, and to train people so that it can continue. We need to continuously educate the ones that are coming after, so that the language, the art, the culture, whatever it is preserved and can go on for generations to come. The UWI has been doing its part. Of course, we have our linguistic departments in the on-campus territories. But in terms of our continuing and professional education, Dominica was pioneer in terms of writing the Creole language courses, and St. Lucia is now teaching them every semester as well, and using that particular course. And it has really been picking up strength. What we are noticing in both Dominica and in St. Lucia, that a lot of the diasporans are subscribing. Of course, it's on Zoom now, so everybody can participate. But for us, a big challenge has been really getting people to understand and agree with us that we need to be together in this effort for preservation. What I would like, as a citizen, as a person, is for our Creole to be spoken more.
Absolutely.
When you go to the shop, you can speak in Creole and the cashier will automatically understand and you will not have to translate. I do not know how we're going to accomplish that, but that is what I want, that would be able to move in and out, because all day long I move in and out of it. Even with my staff at UWI, if I'm telling something to Dr. Casimir, I can move from Creole to English and so on, back and forth, But that is what we want, that it will be so much part of us. Because you and I have spoken about this before. Yeah. There are some things you just cannot say in English, It just will not be the same. And I bet the people from Marigot, Wesley, Woodfordale and Clifton feel the same way about Kokoi. Some things just don't sound the same,
Absolutely.
And so for us, just getting people to understand and appreciate the languages, I think tomorrow night will be good, so that people can see the evolution of the languages, see the use of the words and how they have influenced culture. I think that would be important for us to be able to appreciate as well. So we're looking forward.
Absolutely. And back to Sobers and Anita. I recall at high school, I think, there used to be a book called The Great West Indians. Now, how are we going to get the young people to learn more about someone who has really done so much, not only for Dominica, but for Caribbean?
We have been talking about
how Sobers, how Anita.
So we actually have a project that we are looking to. In fact, I was just speaking with the venerable Mr. Ian Randall of Randall Publishing a couple of days ago about doing some publications. So yeah, the All in Body Foundation, we are clear that we have to do some of the work that Dr. Joseph just mentioned, that we have to, we have to document some of the stuff. So we are looking to publish some of Alwyn's work and works of other outstanding Dominican artists as well. So I want to add to what Kimona was saying. I think we have to invest in research and development,
Yeah.
and the language department. You see, like what St. Lucia has done, the FRC, Folk Research Center. We have to create institutions like this in order to sustain those efforts. One of things not going to work for us in the 21st century, because we are not the bandwidth for that to allow that to happen. So we have to invest in creating institutions that can take the work forward. So we have to train researchers, anthropologists, and social or linguistics people in the art of preservation of the language. So that is something that we have to look at. How are we going to fund that as a nation, as a region? That's something that we can discuss offline, but that is going to be critical for us going forward. So yes, so we are looking as a foundation to, in fact, to document and to publish the works of Alwyn and others in the next year. Yeah.
Because it really struck me when the little children were asking whether Alwyn was alive, or because we have to continue. There's that challenge that we now face, where our young people are so exposed to the American television and the fast life of the computer age. But then it's our responsibility to make sure that they don't forget, where they came from, because that could really enhance living for them, especially in our parts. Alwyn also stood for standards, for quality, perfectionists. When we look at what's taking place, even in culture, are we happy? I mean, Anita Sobers, you yourself,
I want to be
you're
very
perfectionist.
diplomatic.
I know.
We need a program. We need about 2 programs. On that.
Are you happy or not?
We have a lot of work to do.
But standards, quality. Because Dominic have a history for quality and standards. Anita spoke a while ago about what happened in Martinique, and that's what happened. Whenever you come, let's say the Martinique got with any quality product, so would know. I mean, people flock the arena, sold out, because they understand what is quality. I mean, where have we fell, Sobers? How can we rectify, balance the equation?
Listen, I mean, I want to be balanced, because I think we have some gems. We have some gems, folks. We have some wonderful singers and musicians in Dominica. I mean, I want to be very clear on that.
Yes.
Some outstanding ones as well. We are running a film lab now, a regional film lab, that is being funded by the OAS. We have 30-something participants from across the region, from 14 countries. There are 2 Dominicans, and they presented and represented Dominica well. Michael Liz and Sandra Vivas. And they were both selected among the 16 projects. We selected 16 projects from the region, and they were both selected. So it tells us that we have some quality. However, we also know, folks, that we have to invest more in nurturing some of that talent, in making it global and becoming more globally competitive. That is the challenge for us, to become globally competitive. We're not in the 1950s where we used to struggle, and guys who take a CD and in their pocket and go to Guadeloupe and Martinique and sell Wadix. Yeah. Those days are done. Yeah. There are new ways, there are new modes of doing trade and business in the arts. And so we have to be more adept to those kinds of situations. So we have a lot of work to do, but folks, for us to get that work done, we have to be thinking on the same wavelength. We have to be moving together, moving forward together. It's not about we and them. And let's leave our ego outside somewhere else, and let's work together. That's my plea.
And not sure if you want to add anything, Dr. Kimon, because I have a final before I allow you. I have to save Anita for last. Dr. Kimon, I'm not sure if you have anything to add.
I agree with Sobers that we have talent, and that has proven itself. But we do need to invest in our cultural industries. We do need that. And I believe that there's still a lot of work to be done. For instance, finding a venue That's what even like
Spaces.
finding a venue,
Spaces.
it's difficult. Finding spaces for the arts has proven to be difficult. So while we have people who are talented, particularly young people coming up, we want them to take us seriously too and see that there is potential there, and not go and seek opportunities elsewhere. We want them to be here, so we have to prepare for them and make the things that they need available to them so that they will be encouraged to stay and to produce.
Absolutely. Anita, I'm not sure if you want to add any.
Not much at all. I think we have all that talent in Dominica. We need to hone the talent and develop it. A few things need to change. Like, I get a little upset when I go to a show and I see bandsmen come in with one have a shirt to a khaki pant, the other one have jeans, the other one have black. There's no professionalism that is brought to the stage. And it's not a matter of, oh, but I want to dress so. You want to give the image is important, okay? You have a song system. A person goes to perform, the mic is dead. So they have to be waiting for a mic to come, okay? Being brought up in the theater with Alwyn, where everything has to work like clockwork. I mean, we have been on stage with a full steel orchestra of 29 musicians, and they damn well start on key, because when that cue for that song is there, they better be at their post to perform. And we used to do it in those days. It can be done. And with a level of, you must always bring professionalism to your whatever talent that you have, so that it builds respect, admiration, and should give the artist great joy to bring, themselves to the audience.
And one final thing, Wadix, on that is we have to do works or produce works that, let's say it again, that's universal in nature.
Absolutely.
Let's say it again, quality. So our music, great music, infectious rhythms, but we have to do some work on the lyrics and some of this stuff. In terms of our fashion and design, we have to do stuff that reflects Dominica. A Dominican aesthetic is what we really have to, what is truly Dominican? What is truly Caribbean? In every facet of the arts.
Guys, it will be remiss if I don't ask this question. Both Dr. Alwyn Boley and former late Premier E.O. Libla fought for the Creole culture. Now, we have known that the Creole culture is mainly exposed during our independence season. As a matter of fact, that's dedicated to the independence, is dedicated to our Creole or Franco or French Creole culture. The ballet, the jimping, the court, that's where we actually showcase to the world our creolity. Are we losing that a little based on the challenges of everything else? So many foreign shows taking place during the independence season, when we know that those two heroes fought so much for, to keep us together, to allow us to have that identity. I'll start with you, Sobers.
Well, yeah. I think these are issues that we have to look at. We have to review and see what these things mean to us, and if it, in fact, does the kind of things that we want to get done, the kinds of results, the kind of outcomes that we're looking for. So clearly, we have to find ways in which, at the end of the exercise, or exercises of whatever kind, that we review and to see if it meets the objective. I think clearly we have, again, it's what I was saying earlier, our focus has to be on projecting our own identity, our own, the heritage and culture of this island and the region, because we cannot close ourselves to the region. But I think that the focus, the onus is on us to promote Dominicanness, a Dominican identity, cultural identity. So that is what drives us, because a Dominican cultural identity, a Dominican ethos is what we use for building our tourism. It's what we use to build our agriculture. It's what we use to build the social skills, the value system in our society. All of those things.
Absolutely.
So that's why it's important.
I'm not sure if Dr. Kimon or Anita want to add anything because I want to give you a final
There's not much
opportunity.
we can add, you know.
Yeah, that's the thing with supers. With supers, you know. but then, very importantly, I want us to, the last few minutes. We just have about
we need to know that there is a time and place for everything. Independence time is a time to showcase our traditional art forms. Okay. And we're seeing, like things are being just pushed in there just because it's popular. That's not what it is about. We need to showcase we have so many dance and music forms, so many Creole things that we can promote during that season. Okay, carnival time is when? In January, February and March.
Yes.
Okay? Leave carnival for whatever. Okay?
Carnival is in Dominica is for the other 11 months.
Yes. Okay? So
Carnival in Dominica is for the other 11 months.
The month of
October
is for the promotion of our traditional culture.
Absolutely.
I'm
Final
going to
words.
step a little bit away
from
what they're saying.
Okay, Dr.
So I appreciate and I like that very much. From the UE perspective, I work with a diverse team, all from Jamaica to Trinidad to Belize and so on. And you'd be amazed. So I want to say a little bit something to plug in for Dominica because we criticize ourselves a lot. But you'd be amazed how impressed they are with us. I wear my headpieces to the Zoom meetings, and I am the only one. Solutions don't wear it. And then I have to explain why. I teach classes in the evenings, and I'm wearing my headpieces during that month, and I have to explain why. And St. Vincent has an independence the same time as us. They're in late October, I think. And, I remember last year saying to one of the students, Happy Independence and so on, and I hope you all have celebrated. And they said, but nothing like you, You all go over, in Dominica, you all go overboard. And everyone in the Caribbean says that when it comes to independence, you all go overboard. Yeah. Oh, yeah. There are certain countries when the only thing that they do at independence, they don't even go to, how we celebrate our 3rd November and we have the rally and then the cultural garden and then the parade, sorry, not rally, the parade. They don't go to that. They go to the beach and have a barbecue. They don't even listen on the radio. Well, almost every Dominican family is at least listening on the radio if they're not physically there. You see, so we have a lot of things that we do during that time that others wish they did. I remember after the hurricane, we had some St. Lucians who had come to help with Caritas, and they were renting from UE. And so they were going around at the various events, and they were impressed. Even the Creole Friday St. Lucia just started that, not too long ago, and we've been doing that forever. They don't have June Chapopai and June Paye and all these things that we have. And so we need to, while yes, there's a lot of that can be done, a lot of things that can be done, while yes, we need to preserve and we need to keep October sacred, yes, but we also need to understand that Dominica really is the envy during that time because definitely. I will go out and say it, no other Caribbean country celebrates their independence time quite how we do it. And even though there are Dominicans that can't speak Creole, they know say PTB qui can faire aimer Dominique. They know that song. And they know Dominique qui do consivo, they know that song. Bamoyon Thibault, they know that song too. Even my little niece who's in Convent Prep, 5 years old, she know Bamoyon Thibault, but she can't speak Creole. So Dominicans, yes.
We learned a lot for recitation.
Yeah. Dominicans do come out in October, and I'm very proud of us for that. Yeah. So now let's keep this October going all year round.
Yes. Okay, so Dr. Kimon, tomorrow everything is in order for tomorrow night?
Everything is in order for the Eoli Blanc Memorial Lecture tomorrow evening. The event is free and is part of the national calendar for independence activities. Our theme for this year is Dominica's native tongues, Kalinago, Creole, and Kokoi.
Okay, Sobers and Anita, as we wind up.
We want people not to forget the November 23rd at 8 o'clock at the factory where we will be putting on what we hope will be an excellent musical production that everybody will love and talk about for a long time.
Price? What's the
The
price?
price ranges
From
oh,
$75.
From $75. We're going to have an early bird for $75, and then it will go up to $90. And then we have 2 special VIP sections where there'll be a bar and wine will be served.
Wow.
And whatnot for $150. Yeah.
I really want to thank you guys for coming here. And like I said, documentation, because I really believe we need to be sustainable, allow our young people to know about this. If we need to go to them, go to the schools and educate them, I always felt that we need to revisit the civics classes where, reading the curriculum where children can learn more about our greats. We learn about everything else, but then people who really excelled in life in Dominica, we should actually teach that to our children so they can emulate and be like, real heroes from those who really stood fast with us and kept our Cicero flag flowing. And I mean, really flying high. Thank you so much, Esprit. We need to do some business. Anita, we need to come back sometime. We need to do something in depth on the sensei.
Yes.
So then start to prepare. Dr. Kimon, you'll see me tomorrow night. I really, I'm delighted at this particular endeavor to really keep Dominica's culture alive. And the language is one of the keys, the spinal cord of who we are. No matter where you go in the world, they will connect ou ici, ou Guadeloupe, ou Haiti, ou Martinique, Louisiane, peut-être Seychelles.
Yes.
Another Creole Heartbeat program with you and Prince Wadex, and we are running out of time, but I want to thank Ivona John Baptist for really giving us some extra time. And with the kind compliments of DJ Cell, another Creole Heartbeat program. Until next week when we'll have Sober's Esprit. We'll be talking about a different aspect of our culture. Prince Wadex, may God bless you, may God bless Dominica.
Thank you, Alex.
Magnifies the Lord.